Now that students have submitted work for your Google Classroom, it's time to grade and return the work to them. So we're going to go to our classroom and we're going to look at how do we grade student work that's been submitted. So there's a couple of ways that you can do this. I'm going to show you both ways here, and it really becomes personal preference. So the first way, we're going to go to our Classwork tab, and under the Classwork tab, we see what we've got. Our materials are all have kind of this looks like a bookmark over a page. That's going to be your materials. Your assignments are going to be the items that look like a clipboard or a chalkboard here. So you can also see that here's an assignment that we did, and I've got this quote box with the one next to it, so that lets me know that somebody's also made a comment on it. So the first thing we can do is go into and look at that Google Classroom. And so I can see that as with one student in my class right now, one student has turned this in, tells you kind of where it's at. I can go back. I've got a class comment that was posted to this assignment, so I can view the class comment, respond to it accordingly. So if I want to view the class comment, I can go here to the class comment. Test student B said, I love this assignment. What I can do is I can respond back to the whole class comment, or I could reply directly to that student. So if I want to reply directly to the student, I can hit this reply to student and it'll automatically put it in there and put, I am glad to hear that. And that would go to that student. If I wanted to make wanted to make a full class comment, I could just add a class comment directly to the student there. So we're going to go in and view this assignment. And when I go in to look at this assignment, I see where what we've got for the students. So these are students that have turned it in. So if I click on this student, I'll see his work. More students, I see more work. So this student turned his work in. Everything is good. There's not a grade for this assignment. This is just to get it, mark it as done when you're done with it. So I'm going to go ahead and put a check mark next to this one, and I'm going to return this to the student. And this, I can put a private comment on it, and I can put in here, great work on this assignment. And so I can return this work back to the student, letting them know that it's been checked off as being done, so they could be there. Now, if there's something that a student needs to do or resubmit it or come up with something, I can go back and do that. Now, because this was an ungraded assignment, it's really just marking it off that I've checked it or checked it in. I can always change that, and I can come up here where it says ungraded. I can put a value in here, so if I decide that something does need to have a grade assigned to it, I can put that grade in there, and we'll look at that here in a minute. If I want to go back in, I'm in the student work, I can see what they did. Under the instructions, I can also see what was it they were supposed to do. So we're going to go back to the classroom. We're going to look at some different, another type of assignment that we've got here. So this one, student was supposed to submit a screenshot of a created Google Classroom. So again, I'm going to go in, view the assignment. This one actually has a grade that needs to be attached to it. So what this student was supposed to do is submit a screenshot of their class assignment. So I'm going to go in and look at this and see what his work is. And so when I open this up, this has what it is. It doesn't look like it's a screenshot of his Google Classroom. So I'm going to tell him that this is going to be something that he needs to work. I can give him partial credit. I can figure out what I want to do with this. So I'm going to give him partial credit and say, give him a private comment. Excellent screenshot, but you are missing classroom header, right? So they don't have their classroom header. So I can post that. That comment will go directly to that student. And then what I can do is I can return that work back to the student. Student will be notified that he's getting his work back. And there it is. So that work has gone back to the student. So then what I can do from here is close this out, and I'll go back to my assignments, and I can see other students as well. Now, if it's something that I don't need to necessarily check, I'm looking if they turned it in, I can come back here. I can always update or get their grades to see what we've got from there. We're going to look now at a quiz, and what does a quiz look like? Okay, so we are going to look at a quiz. So go back under the classwork, and we're going to look at one of our quizzes. So here is the student did this movie quiz. So one student turned this in. So again, I can go to view the assignment and see what they did. Now, we had set this up to where the grades would automatically go for the student. So what we need to do is click the import grade. So when I hit the import grade button, what it will do is it will bring the grades for the student, how the student did on the quiz. So this one says that this student, he missed 2 out of 4, so he gets the 2 out of 4 points on it, is what he did on the quiz. Now, if you want to, you can actually open up the quiz and I can see what the quiz it is, or I can go into my Google Classroom. So if I go under the instructions, go into my Google Forms, I can see actual responses if I needed to. So if I open this up and go into my Google Forms for the movie quiz, here's my movie quiz that the student took. And what I want to do is I can look at the responses. So this will give me more information in the responses of how the student responded or what they did with it. And so we had set this up to where they would get their responses. So once I've got the grades imported in for that student and I've got everything in here, what I need to do is return it to them. So when I put that checkbox, I'll check all those students and I can return that quiz to them. And again, I can give the student a private comment, and that student has had his work returned. Another way that you can set up or grade work is by going in and looking at the grades. And this grades will take you to a grades section, and this shows you work that students have turned in and work that they need to do or that need to get done. So this one here is if I want to see what the assignment is, what's your favorite food? The student responded, put that it was steak. So he answered it, gave me what his favorite food is. I can mark it off there. I can return that directly to the student, and I can go back to the formative. So this one, I want to take a minute here, go back to this question. And so this is where the student is so that we can see what they did with it. And I can go back in here, go back to grades, and I can see what else I have that needs to be graded for the students. So this one is the school start assessment. So again, if I want to, I can click on this and I can, with the 3 dots, I can actually return it to the student without doing anything to it. I can view the student submission, and this will show me what the student did for it. This was the school start quiz, so there's nothing to view because there was nothing that was submitted to it. So for this one, I would go to the assignment. Again, I could either import the grades or go into this Google form to look at and edit it. I'm going to import the grades on this and show that the student got a 2 out of 2 because I set that up. I'm going to do that, return that to the student, and we have got our student work. So lots of ways that you can go about grading student work. Again, either looking through the Classwork tab or really streamlined by doing this through the grades tab across the top. And you can look at and get all of your assignments, grade them. Again, with Synergy Google Link, these grades will then get ported over to assignments by the same name. So you could get those assignments in there. So if there's something the student hasn't turned in and he needs to get a 0, I could go in here, put a 0 in there. And with my settings, it would show that the student has incomplete work. And that is grading of assignments and returning of work to students.